So now let's talk about how the college is making decisions on financial aid. So the first task the college has to do is the college financial aid administrators need to figure out what is the cost of attendance for a student to attend for the academic year. So they have to figure out what that is, and that includes billed costs like tuition, fees for an on-campus student, housing, food, but it also includes other expenses. Students have expenses that aren't billed, like books and supplies, transportation, personal expenses. So it's very important for the college to have an understanding of what it's going to cost a student to be there for the year. And then from the information that you put on these financial aid forms, they run your information through a formula that the end result of that formula with the FAFSA is something called the Student Aid Index. And that's a number that determines your financial aid eligibility. So it's a number that represents your family's financial strength as compared to other families' financial strength. But every family is using the same formula. In this formula, income weighs much more heavily than assets. We always get the question of, well, if I save for college, is that going to hurt me? And it is a myth out there that that's true. And it's a myth. It's not true. I promise you, if you have saved anything for your students' education, you're going to be very happy to have those savings when it comes to paying the college bill. So no, in that formula, your income weighs heavily. And the FAFSA spits out this SAI, Student Aid Index. The CSS Profile also gives a number because we talked about there are a few different elements in the calculation for the CSS Profile. So there could be an institutional formula that takes into consideration your primary residence, for example, at a CSS Profile college. So it's not necessarily exactly what you will pay because it is just an index, but it will give you a sense of what's going to be required from you. And one good thing is, especially if you have a younger student, you can use the SAI calculator on MEFA.org. It's a good one to give you an estimate of what your student aid index might be and what you might be expected to pay as a parent. And then the formula for a specific institution would be, what is our cost of attendance minus the family student aid index, and the balance is the student's financial aid eligibility. Okay. And that's where the colleges try to give you a financial aid offer that either meets that eligibility or gets as close as possible to it. So for example, let's say the college that your student is applying to costs $80,000 and your student aid index is $20,000, your student could be eligible for $60,000 of financial aid at that institution. But let's say another institution has a cost of attendance of $40,000 and your student aid index is still 20. At that college, you may only be eligible for $20,000. So that's why you shouldn't necessarily shun higher priced colleges, because sometimes you're eligible for more aid and sometimes could receive more aid. It's kind of nice to put out all of your applications, keep an open mind, be patient, and when your financial aid offers come in, that's a key point of really seeing what aid is offered and comparing those offers. So I'm going to right now I'll do a little acting and pretend I'm a financial aid administrator at a college that costs $45,000 and show you how, as an administrator, how I would award a student a financial aid package, for example. Okay. So this example, the college costs $45,000 and you as a family have a student aid index of $5,000. So when I'm going to make an award for this student, your student, I would first say, okay, the family is going to pay $5,000 because that's their student aid index. And then I'm going to give this student a grant and a scholarship. I'm going to give a grant, need-based grant, $17,500, and I'm going to give a scholarship because this student had very good grades, was on the honor roll and had a good GPA. And then I'm going to give the student the federal direct student loan, the maximum amount for a freshman, $5,500. And I'm going to give a work study allotment of $2,000 so that the student can earn that over the course of the year and pay for some of those non-billed expenses. And then that's all I can do in this imaginary example. My college doesn't meet the full need of all students. So I'm actually not able to fill in that full 45,000, but I've tried to do the best I can. So what does this mean for you, the family? It means that to send your son or daughter to this college, you as a family will need to come up with 5,000 of your student aid index and 5,000 of unmet need. So you as a family will need to come up with $10,000 for the first year to make sure your student has enough money to be at this college. So that's how that works. And I mentioned the SAI calculator, which is general about calculating your SAI. Colleges also have something on their websites called net price calculators. And you can go in and in the search bar of any college, type net price calculator and put in some information as you will on a financial aid form and find out an estimate of an award that your student could receive from that specific institution. Now, again, it's an estimate. Estimate is only as good as the information you put in, but it can give you a general sense of a college's financial aid program and how affordable a certain college could be from you. And there could be merit in here as well. So if the net price calculator asks about GPA or SAT score, ACT score, that means there might be a merit component that's being factored in there too. So again, can give you a little bit of an idea. All right, so that's the behind the scenes look at financial aid awards. And now here's the point where the colleges are going to send you the financial aid offers. And what you will find, the first thing you'll notice is that they all will look different. So you really want to spend some time paying attention to carefully looking at them, the components of them, and comparing them so you have a good understanding about the affordability or non-affordability for you as a family. So in this example, there are 3 colleges. And to make it simple, all of these colleges cost $45,000. That's the cost of attendance, including everything. And again, your student aid index in this example is 5,000, so your financial aid eligibility is 40. So let's see what these colleges awarded. They awarded your student, College A awarded your student $40,000 in a financial aid offer. Now, part of that is loan, part of that is work study, but also a very nice grant and scholarship package of $32,500. So in this case, College A is a college that promises to meet the full need of all students. And if colleges do that, they'll let you know that on their website too. So that's a great thing. They've awarded really everything that your student would need. You as a family would have to come up with $5,000, the amount of your student aid index. College B also awarded a nice grant package, the loan, the work study, but did not meet your full need and awarded $33,000. So that means as a family, you need to come up with an additional $7,000 on top of the $5,000, $12,000 per year. And College C, again, while awarding grant, awarded less. And so you as a family would have to come up with 15 plus 5, $20,000 if your student chooses to go to College C. So really key to pour over these numbers. And you can see we have a calculator that we love on the bottom there. You can click on that. It allows you to put in all of the costs, all of the aid, and really get a bottom line figure to help you decide. And this is where you can have conversations with your student. If your student is saying, but I like College C, you can say, that's great, but you also liked College A. Do you want to go visit again at an open house, an accepted students day? Do you want to ask some more questions? Could College A or B give you everything you need? And again, I keep encouraging both students and parents, keep that open mind and that flexibility to help make a universally good decision. I'm going to quickly go over this slide just to say that we have seen at some colleges that some colleges will put a parent loan in the financial aid offer, as College B and C did in this example. And just to be aware that really a parent loan isn't in the same category as all of the rest of the aid. And a parent loan does need a credit check. And so just be aware of that if you see that, to know that, sure, that's something you might take a parent loan, but keep that aside when you're doing that, comparing apples to apples.